Здравствуйте, дорогие друзья. Надеюсь, что у всех все настроилось хорошо. Меня тоже замечательно слышно. Я рада вас приветствовать на нашем очередном вебинаре, который мы, Nordic School, проводим совместно с Университетом прикладных наук HAMK. И сегодня представители университета Роза и Вера расскажут вам о вузе, о бакалаврских программах, познакомят вас поближе со студенческой жизнью. И я уверена, этот вебинар будет обязательно полезен вам. Dear Vera, Rosa, now you can start. So thank you very much for being here tonight again.
Thank you very much. It's our pleasure to have this opportunity to talk about our university and what we do at HAMK. So firstly, my name is Vera Schakka, and I'm the International Marketing Coordinator at HAMK. And today we have also here got Rosa, and Rosa is the Marketing Assistant in our department. And
Hello, everybody.
And Rosa will talk about Finland as a study destination.
Он не на английском языке?
Да.
Sorry.
Да нет.
Извините, пожалуйста, да, на английском языке вебинар. Пожалуйста, выключите звук, чтобы наши докладчики смогли. Yes. So, dear Vera, you can continue.
Okay. So we are called Häme University of Applied Sciences. We're also known as HAMK. So HAMK is the short form of our Finnish name. So we have kind of two names. We're a medium-sized university in the Finnish scale. We have just under 9,000 students, out of which about 550 are international students. Our international student pool is vastly increasing. So we're adding 2 new programs this year. So we're looking into about 700 students next September. We have 7 campuses. Overall, we have 41 degree programs, out of which 10 are English taught programs. We also 170 international partners around the world. And just our location, we are in the southern part of Finland. We're the next region after the capital region, going up north. The distance between the white dots you see on the map there are 7 campuses. And the closest one to Helsinki is Riihimäki, which is about 45 minutes by train. And then we are between Helsinki and Tampere, Tampere being the 3rd largest city in Finland. And Valkeakoski is the closest one to Tampere, and that is about 20 minutes from Tampere. So very good strategic location for the university. But now I'll let Rosa talk to you about Finland.
Yes. Hi, everybody. My name is Rosa. I work with Vera. I'm the marketing assistant at HAMK. So let's look into some reasons to study in Finland. Now, I don't know how many of you have maybe visited, but here are maybe some fun facts that you perhaps didn't know about yet. So I'm sure you've heard that Finland's the happiest country in the world. And in my experience, I stand by that because we have, I think, people in Finland enjoy outdoors, and there's healthy food, there's drinkable tap water, and there's good social services as well as healthcare. So I think all that plays into why the quality of life is so good in Finland. And actually, I think we're third highest quality of life. We also speak pretty good English. So if you haven't quite perfected your Finnish yet and you're a little bit nervous to talk in Finnish, not to worry. We also or a lot of people in Finland also speak pretty good English. And then we're first in work-life balance, and that I can definitely sign because you've probably heard some things about work-life balance in Finland, but for example, in Finland, we usually aren't that distant to like the chief executives of a company. So basically there's no hierarchy in companies, and then people in Finland tend to leave work earlier than maybe in other countries. When your day is done, it's done, and you don't have to take your work home if that isn't part of your job description. So overall, just the quality of life life in Finland is truly amazing. Can go on to the next slide for me. And some more reasons as to why living in Finland is great. So we have 4 beautiful seasons. Right now, outside it's snowing, so we're definitely transitioning into full-on winter, which is always nice around Christmas. And like I mentioned, equality, low levels of hierarchy in work life. And Finland's also the safest and most stable place in the world. In my experience, Finland, anyone can really go out and walk by themselves at night in any part of Finland. I personally don't think it's an issue, and I know in many countries it is. So just kind of reasonable common sense, I should say, you could use when you walk alone or out in the dark in Finland. And we're also a very sustainable country, and that's kind of in everything. I mean, there's new products, new research out all the time that kind of support that. And then you guys also have the possibility to work during and after your studies. So in Finland, we actually really appreciate foreign workforce, and we strive to make it easier for foreigners to work in our country. So that's definitely one of the great advantages of studying in Finland.
Thank you, Rosa. This is very good introduction to Finland's study destination, and it really is very, very unique. And we always say that Finland is the best kept secret because it is not so much popular like kind of destinations such as the UK, US, and Australia. But really, it's a very, very good study destination and a destination to come and work and live in Finland, of course. But now let's move on to, oh, my slides have just frozen. Here we go. Talking about HAMK and what makes us special. And we're actually one of the older institutions of education, especially higher education in Finland. We were established in 1840, which is a good 70 years before we got our independence. And we were, of course, part of the Russian Empire back in those days, and it was the Russian emperor who commissioned us to be funded. And so history goes way back to Russia. So yeah, 1840, old institution, long roots in the Finnish education. But despite the long history, we are very much a modern university, very much competitive university, international, and we also have internationally recognized quality of teaching as the first university in Finland to actually have such quality ranking. And and how we do teaching, how we actually excel in teaching is by boosting comprehensive skills for employability, innovation, and entrepreneurship. And what that really means in practice is that the students will not only have the knowledge, they will also have the skills and understanding of the workforce, the labor market, after their graduation. And how that is really done is that all the studies include real-life project for actual businesses. So students are able to use that knowledge and put that into practice. And of course, making those very important connections to the working life and understanding how the industry works, what kind of businesses there are, how they operate, what kind of positions there are in those companies, and eventually how to get those positions. So very, very important things beside the knowledge, beside just a lot of theory. You'll get all these important things that give you one step ahead after graduation when you're looking for your first job after graduation. And very much the approach in HAMK is student-centeredness. So we don't want students the class of 21 engineers, for example, to all have the same skill sets. They are all individuals and they will all have completely different study paths and skill sets, which sets them apart. And that way, of course, students are able to learn from one another and use those to their advantage. And I already in the beginning mentioned about the 170 partner institutions. What that really means that our students are able to go for exchange studies abroad. As you can imagine, 170 partners is pretty much covering the whole world. So you have a lot of opportunities, a lot of different places, courses to choose from if you wanted to go for study abroad as well. So not just study abroad with us, but also go for exchange period somewhere else. But the environment in HAMK itself is already very multicultural and international. We have over 60 different nationalities. I think it's about 68 at the moment, different nationalities studying with us. So each starting group is extremely diverse. We have students from all over the world, from Far East Asia, of course, to North Africa, South Africa, Brazil, and beyond. We have students from Australia and literally everywhere. So you can just imagine 68 different nationalities. Once I tried to, with my colleague, we tried to write down 68 different nationalities and we didn't get anywhere close. So it is really a staggering number of nationalities that we have at the university. And what that really means from a student's perspective is that they're able to gain cultural perspectives and develop international networks. One good example of this is that I recently met a student from Kosovo who had established a company. It was something to do with wind energy, some kind of a part that creates wind energy. Unfortunately, I'm not an engineer, so I won't be able to tell you too much into detail what the company does. But he needed his expertise of his friend who was from Lithuania. So they actually they established a company together, taking over 2 markets in Kosovo and Lithuania. Just one example of really you can become, and then we can become anything really, but how you can actually utilize those connections and kind of the perspectives, and you really become an international, whatever it is, engineer, business person, marketing person, a designer, whatever it might be. Then let's move on to student accommodation. We actually guarantee that all the students will get accommodation. So it's not actually owned by us, but it's a housing association that we are their only customer. So technically everyone will live together in kind of, this picture is from our Häme campus, our main campus. And this is just one example of student accommodation. The most popular option is that students have their own bedroom and share the living space and kitchen with another student. And yeah, so we help with the process. So there's an application needed to be done. And then what happens afterwards is that when you arrive, there's a tutor who will assist you and guide you. And they will actually show you to your apartment. They will have the keys to your apartment, and they will show you where's the supermarket, the campus, and other services you might be interested in, and really welcome you and make sure that when you arrive, you have everything that you need. And then briefly about living costs. Of course, this is very difficult to estimate because everyone's lifestyle is so different, and we are accustomed to different sort of lifestyles. But the rent in, as I mentioned about the your own bedroom, sharing the living space and kitchen with another student, is 350 euros. So quite affordable considering we're very close to the capital region, but the capital region would have, the rent would be about double that. So it is fairly affordable rent in Finnish scale. And then other costs you might consider is food and beverages. The lunch at the university is €2.70 a day, which is extremely affordable. And that is a big buffet lunch. So really, really wholesome lunch. And then maybe some other food and beverage costs, and maybe bus tickets, gym membership, whatever else. So that will come up to about 700 euros per month. That would be your basics and a little bit more. But of course, we have students who say that 500 is plenty, and then we have students who say that they need 3,000. So it is fairly difficult to estimate, but that gives you just an idea of what it could be. And of course, other initial cost is the residence permit, and then you have student healthcare fee, insurance, of course, related to the residence permit, and then your flight tickets, maybe in your case, train tickets, and deposit for your apartment, and small household items to get you started. Well, now let's talk about the actual studies. So firstly, I'll introduce the bachelor degree program. So we have 4 fields of study. We have engineering, business, design, and agriculture. And all of these are 4-year programs apart from the business degrees that are 3.5-year programs. So in the field of engineering, we have construction, electrical and automation, information and communications technology in the field of bioeconomy, and then we have mechanical engineering and production technology. Then we have international business and computer applications in the business field, and then we have smart and sustainable design and smart organic farming as well. Apologies for my voice. Then we have 2 master programs, one in the field of business and one in the field of engineering. The business program is called Management in Sustainable Business, and that is an online part-time course. And then we have engineering program, Sustainable Technologies, and that is an on-campus full-time studies. But back to the bachelor's degree programs, I'll introduce all of them a little bit more in detail what they entail. So like I said, 4-year course focusing on steel structures, so steel construction. Studies include mechanics, mathematics, technical drawings, and computer-aided design and 3D visualization. And it's also possible to achieve an A-class structural engineer qualifications during your studies, so very good qualification to have in terms of the design. As you can see, the design is very much the focus here, so not so much about the actual construction. I mean, it is construction, but actually the design of the construction. And then we have electrical and automation engineering, also 4-year course, very much as the name suggests, electrical and automation installations. So very much including designing and developing and implementing new systems and solutions in that field. And the studies include metrology, design methods, programming applications, power engineering, electrical design and installations, and smart and energy solutions. Then we have information and communications technology in the field of bioeconomy. This is an ICT program, which is focusing on the field of bioeconomy. So studies will have kind of the sustainability is the whole thing that brings everything together. So technically finding ways to come up with solutions in the field, in the field of sustainability, so fixing a problem or finding a solution or making something more efficient in terms of with the technology. So studies includes IoT platforms, smart sensors, cloud services, mobile applications, and data analytics. So like it says here, develop tailored data, and with the data we come up with a technology-based solution for the use of bioeconomy. Then we have a mechanical engineering production technology. This, of course, we know that the production is very much moved on to use of robotics and 3D scanning and printing and industrial internet, which is, of course, very much the key to this program. There is an absolute state-of-the-art robotics laboratory in this Riihimäki campus where this is located, and it's very, 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 very impressive. And they use modern calculus, simulation, and software tools to of course, program the robotics or the scanners or whatever else they might be using. Then we have our computer applications, 3.5-year course. So this is actually a Bachelor of Business Administration. So it's a kind of business IT program. So you'll have business studies, but they're very much focused on the IT field. So we have topics such as IT and business, entrepreneurship in IT, business analytics and intelligence, just to name a few. So you don't have anything outside that kind of IT field. So everything is very much focused on that field. Then IT studies include software and web development, mobile programming, ICT, artificial intelligence, and big data. And then we have our international business. So it's a 3.5-year course, very, very broad business program. So you'll gain in the first 1.5 years of your studies, you'll gain a very good understanding of what businesses are, how they operate, and what they really consist of. So you'll learn about marketing, management, HR, sales, finance, all these sort of things. And then towards the second half of your studies, you'll be able to concentrate and choose studies that are more focused on what you want to do. So for example, if you wanted to become a marketing professional, you can focus on marketing studies. and maybe finance and maybe finance or whatever else it might be. Excuse me. And then we have our smart and sustainable design. Apologies, I'm just drinking a little bit of water. Okay, this is a 4-year course, and in this course you can choose from fashion and footwear or glass and ceramics. So you have 2 kind of fields that you choose from. And what the smart refers to is the technology used. And of course, it is very much a new program. It's the 2nd year running in our university in English. So it's very much using the latest technology in the whole process, from the design to the very end product. And the sustainability is, of course, is what holds it all together. And again, from the whole process. So how to, design ecologically friendly products, and obviously then at the very end of the product life cycle as well, like what to do with the product once it's reached its final destination. And the picture here you see is from our fashion design studio in the university. So a very, very nice environment, to actually studio environment to study with us here. Then lastly, we have a smart organic farming, and it's a 4-year course. And this is actually based on an actual educational farm. So they'll have all things that actually operating farms. So you have cows, horses, sheep, whatever else animals there are. And of course, the smart again refers to the technology, as you see on the picture. That is actually a milking robot. So how to use the technology for efficiency, and of course cutting costs and so on. And very much about analyzing data again, of course, with the use of the robotics and the technology, and using very much diverse equipment in the studies. And then briefly about the master's programs, I'll just introduce them briefly. I know the focus is more on the bachelor level, but I'll just tell you a little bit on these as well. So management and sustainable business is a 2-year course, 90 credit course. And like I said, this is a part-time online course with the 2 to 3 intensive weeks in Finland. And then sustainable technologies is a 1 to 2 years course, depending on your previous study history. And this is an on-campus full-time studies. And now to the application to HAMK. So direct application is an application period that is specifically designed for our international students. I know you're probably very familiar with the Finnish Joint National Application, which runs from the 5th until the 19th of January. So both avenues are open for you. The one that we suggest you use is the direct application, because you will get your results sooner and you will have more time to apply for your residence permit and get all that immigration papers sorted on time for your arrival in August. So the only difference between the two is really that the direct application will serve you a little bit better in terms of your the whole process. So it's a little bit quicker, but you can apply on both. Well, choose one or the other, or indeed both, but two different options. So what you actually need in order to apply, what are the attachments to your application, is a copy of a degree certificate or a temporary certificate. So if you are a final year student in high school, you'll just send us the records up until that point when you apply. So you don't need to wait until you get your final diploma to apply. And then that needs to be translated into English with official translation. And then we need a copy of passport for your identity. And then with the direct application, there is a couple of different ways. There is our own online exam, SAT results, and international baccalaureate degree. But firstly, let's talk about the online exam and how the actual process works. So you've filled your application, you've submitted the required documents, and then next what happens is that you're invited for an online exam on a specific date. The time you can choose yourself, and you can take the exam from your home computer and The contents of the exam depend on the programs you apply for, but all of them will have basic mathematics and English section. But then there might be some degree-specific sections as well. And then once you've completed the exam, you will receive your results within the month. So usually it's more of a couple weeks, but just to be on the safe side, we say within a month. And then you accept your study place, register for the academic year, pay your tuition fee, apply for residence permit, and pack your bags. So nice and fast process. So it depends when you apply. It takes about 4 to 6 weeks from your application to receiving your results. So it's a very quick process. So yeah, actually already talked about the exam, and the exam is slightly different for the smart and sustainable design. And there's going to be a pre-task, which is a design task, and it will be given about 1 week before. So you'll have 1 week to prepare it, and you will also prepare a motivational letter, and then do the English section of the exam. So it's slightly different for the design program, because you will have that 1 week to prepare the design assignment. And then if you happen to have English qualifications, these are not mandatory. So if you don't have these, don't worry, you'll just do the English section of the exam. But if you happen to have IELTS 6.5 or over, or 79 TOEFL, you can send us those results, and you can skip the part of the exam, so you don't need to do it again. But again, if you don't have these, there's no reason to go and get them. Just do the English section on the exam. And then when you talk about SAT results, so if you have SATs, you have 500 in reading and writing and 500 in mathematics, you're automatically accepted. So send your SAT results to us, and we'll in a couple of days, we'll send you an acceptance letter. And this is valid for all programs except the smart and sustainable design, because there is that pre-task to be done. But this again is just one other avenue alongside our own online exam. And then the International Baccalaureate IB program. So if you have GP 5 or higher, English 5, further Maths 3, or applied Maths 5, and Physics 5 for the engineering programs only. So you don't need physics for any other programs. If you happen to have these scores and you have that degree program, degree certificate, send it to us, and you don't need to do the online exam. So you're automatically accepted. And again, applies for all the programs except for the smart and sustainable design. And then the master's programs, there are different things to consider. They will have their own qualifications and work experience of 2 years for both programs. And then they'll have a pre-task and a kind of a preliminary assignment and an online interview. But I won't talk too much about this, but just to let you know the criteria for that. And then the tuition fees. So the tuition fee for bachelor programs is 9,700 euros, and the master's is 11,700 euros. And if you happen to hold an EU citizenship, there is no tuition fee, so the studies are completely free of charge. And then we also have a scholarship system. So their scholarship system is based on the knowledge of Finnish language, or actually gaining that knowledge of Finnish language. So it's for the bachelor's degree programs, there's 2 levels. So the first level is basic user of Finnish language, and second level is independent user of Finnish language. So the students will study Finnish language alongside their degree program studies and gain knowledge and take a test at the end of the year to see if they reach the level. And once they have, they will receive 3,200 euros scholarship, which will be paid to their account, which they can then use for either for the living cost or then use it towards the next year's tuition fee. And the amount of the second scholarship is 6,500 euros, and it's an independent user. So this already means that you've gained quite a good knowledge of Finnish language, and you have really committed to learning Finnish language, and you will get the 6,500 euros paid to you. So all in all, this makes 9,700 euros, which means it's 1 year's tuition fee free. So if 25% if you're a four-year student. Master's programs, because they are shorter in duration, they will only have one level, and that's 2,500 euros. So very much works the same way. And then arriving to Finland as a student, obviously you will need a residence permit. The process is fairly straightforward. So you'll apply, make an application online, and what you need is a study place, and we'll of course provide the documents for that. And then you'll need 560 euros per month at your disposal. So depending on whether you apply for 1-year visa or 2-year visa, then times 12 or times 24, and you must have an insurance as well. So there's the 3 requirements for the residence permit, and it's really quite fast and simple process, but still very much apply as soon as you can, because there could be, obviously the pandemic put a spin on things, and it definitely made the queues a lot longer in the embassies and so on. So apply for your residence permit as early as possible. And then I think that's it from us. We'll happily take questions and comments from you. But before that, I would like to share, of course, our social media pages, and then a very important email address called askus@hamk.fi. There you can send any questions at all related to studies, Finland, or whatever. Recently, I received an email from a student who was asking where he could take flying lessons, would be the nearest place to take flying lessons if he chose to come to study at HAMK. So you can really ask anything at all, and one of our team members will find the information for you. Of course, we had to look into where you can take flying lessons, but we got that information now. So so you can ask anything at all, and we'll be very happy to hear from you.
Yes.
And here you actually see our campuses. So pictures of our 7 campuses. You can see they're very different feel to all of them, but they're very beautiful locations. And lastly, I would say, don't just choose a university, choose a future. And thank you very much for your attention. And then Rosa and I will happy to answer any questions.
Yes, thank you on my behalf as well.
Yes, thank you for your informative presentation. It was nice to see and get to know about HAMK, and I think your bachelor programs are unique, like organic smart farming or smart sustainable design. So not many universities in Finland have these bachelor programs.
Absolutely. And what I would also add, that the facilities we have for farming, it's really an organic farm. It's an educational farm. I mean, there is nothing like that anywhere else. So it is absolutely stunning. And same that goes for the design program. You saw the picture from the design studio, and of course, I could talk about the mechanical engineering. They have the robotics, very much state-of-the-art robotics things that they're actually. Companies have loaned robots for us to kind of play with and learn with. So it is really fantastic facilities.
Yes, and I'd like to add to that we're not only unique internationally when it comes to the smart and organic farming degree, but it's also unique here in Finland because we have the facilities. Many schools in Finland are great, but they are usually downtown in bigger cities. But with us having 7 campuses, and one of them being the Mustiala campus that actually started HAMK in general, like Vera said, there's all this equipment that allows students to be very hands-on, and which is it's truly unique to Finnish schools as well.
Yeah, that was great to know. Дорогие друзья, можете задавать вопросы, если они у вас есть. на английском или на русском? I can ask one question. So usually students are interested in some social clubs or university, like university clubs for communicative, like to communicate with other students. Do you have these clubs in your university?
Yeah, we do. They're not so much organized by the university itself, but we have our student association, and they are very active, but the students are very active in themselves. And because they all live together, they live in those kind of student housing villages, sort of. They already have this kind of community feel, and they're very much active. And if there's somebody who likes playing guitar, they'll already find another person, and they play music together and things like that. So they are kind of very proactive. So the university doesn't really have so much to do with the kind of their activities. Of course, we support it, and we of course are happy to happy to do that. But because of the student association, and because of the way they are already organized within their campuses, they already do a lot by themselves. But really, they have football clubs and basketball and different kind of sports, music. There are people into gaming and all these sort of things that that they really are enjoying themselves. And of course, I recently learned that we had a student with me on a webinar who was telling about the nightlife, and of course I'm past that age, so I don't have personal experience on that, but he was very much saying that they go out. There are things to do every night. So if you want to go to have a drink with your friends, or there are discounted student nights and these sort of things that I had absolutely no idea that they even exist. But yeah, it sounded from what I've heard from my students, they really are enjoying their student life, and they're really making the most of the experience, like they should be.
I'd like to add to that actually HAMK, for those of you who are interested in gaming, HAMK actually has its own gaming team that competes, I think at least here in town. I don't know if they compete in Helsinki or even internationally, but I know for sure here in a tournament here in town. And as Vera said, that there are there's not one sort of say university provided activity coordination club or anything like that, but we do have the student association. And then what I've noticed is that a lot of clubs have sort of formed within the degrees. So like nursing students have their own little club, or not even nursing only, but like the School of Wellbeing with the pink onesies. They wear those pink onesies, so they have like the pink onesies club. And I know they're very active in organizing a bunch of things kind of related to their degree. So I'm sure you'll find something.
That's great. That's great. So if there are no more questions, I want to say that thank you for sharing stories of your university life. Thank you for being here, and thanks to all the participants. So have a nice day. Yes, and
thank you on our behalf as well. It was a pleasure.
It's great.
Thank you all.
Bye, Rosa, Vera, and bye all the participants. See you.
Bye, everyone.